Welcome, Professional Rookies Podcast. I'm your host, Rini Angolia, along with my co-host, the one, the only, Brian Ferreira. Brian, what's up, my friend?
Usual. Life's good. Hands getting better. My burn.
Oh, yeah, you had the burn.
Better.
Let me see.
Yeah, like permanently scarred.
You actually do got some nice little scars on there.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not run this week, so that bet's looking worse and worse. So I can only imagine what shirt.
So I got 2 weeks until I turned 50, and
that's right.
I started working out. You know this, and so I started a while ago because I just felt disgusting.
Yeah,
forget what I looked like.
That's what I feel like.
Felt disgusting. So I did the old. I think I said this on the podcast. I took the picture in the mirror.
Yeah,
and that made me feel even worse. But from that day when I took that picture, I've done at least one workout every single day. Some days two.
Off?
Even on my days off, it's all about movement, right? Get up and move. So it'll be a couple mile walk, something really easy. And so when I hit my 50th birthday in 2 weeks, May 23rd, it'll be 99 straight days.
Wow.
So I'm going to do the old before and after.
Yeah.
Listen, I think I'm going to do the before and after. If the after still looks like crap, I'm not doing it. I'll throw it on Twitter, but it's giving me some motivation. But I got my runs in and my lifts. I'm doing both. So what else did you do this weekend?
Not too much.
This past week?
Yeah, not too much. Working, and the weekend was just the weekend.
Did you
chilling out?
So. You didn't bet any money on Rich
no.
Strike?
So I watched
80-1.
I watched the
Kentucky Derby,
and I am not a horse racer. I like to watch horse racing.
No one really knows anything about horse racing, but everybody
crazy,
watches Kentucky Derby, and it's awesome.
So I didn't play anybody, but I like that jockey Mike Smith. I don't know if you know him or not. Prolific jockey, and if he had won, he would have been the oldest.
Well,
jockey.
he was on Medina Spirit last year, and
that's the horse that got disqualified
and got the win ripped away from him.
Right, and so whatever horse it was Taba or whatever the name of the horse was. I was like, yeah, I'll go with that one. And that was pretty much almost a favorite. And, I'm watching this. And
did you watch the? There's a ton on social media. If you haven't looked it up, the call of the race, and it's like it's the overhead camera. I don't know if it's a drone or whatever that follows them, and then they actually point out where Rich Strike was compared to the winners when they started down the stretch. They come. He was like 10 horses back. That horse was like shot out of a cannon.
Yeah. He had a great run.
It was unbelievable.
He got that inside on the rail, and apparently...
not only inside, but he also split a couple horses.
Yeah,
I mean, it was perfect.
He made that one nice move.
Unbelievable. 80-1.
And they came out of nowhere. Like, apparently this jockey was like in St. Louis 2 days before. This horse wasn't supposed to even run in this Derby. It was some horse scratched like the day before.
Correct.
And here comes this horse. I'd love to see how this shakes out with the Triple Crown.
$30,000 that horse. They got that horse in a claims race for $30,000.
Yeah, they said you could have got it for $30,000. So there you go. And they showed the owner of the horse.
$30,000 sitting around.
They showed the owner of the horse afterwards, and they seem like the salt of the earth kind of people.
Just house money, man. You get your horse in the Kentucky Derby, and you're just having a great time, and your horse wins. Yeah.
I can't believe it. Well, hey, that's
America.
America. But that's why we run the race, right?
You run them to win.
Yeah. And apparently, I just was reading today, Elon Musk's life might be in danger or something. I don't know.
Oh, please.
Apparently, the Russians are after him now. I don't know.
They're mad because of his satellite stuff up there helping Ukraine and helping the world.
Apparently, he tweeted, I don't think that means what you think it means.
The world's gone batshit crazy, man. It's just I don't know.
Thank
God this isn't a political show.
I'm not that tactical, but maybe we reach out to him.
Tactical.
Maybe me and you reach out to him and say, hey,
I know you're not tactical.
You need a couple bodyguards or something. Like we'll help you out. I don't know.
Called you last night. Wanted to do a little show prep. You blew me off. You got called out.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you get called out? What'd you get called out for?
We'll leave that for another day.
Well, can't you say I was overdose, right?
Well, it may be.
People like to know. Inquisiting minds like to know. Wow. He hates talking about anything active. He thinks like the police department's going to fire him.
They listen to this.
Just talk generically. So you get called out.
No, part of our job, and again, listen.
I'm listening.
Unfortunately, somebody lost their life yesterday.
And we're not making light of that, obviously. It's horrible. That's your job, though. I mean, that's what you investigate.
That's the job. That's what we sign up for. And part of our job is to figure out, was it really drugs or was it some type of medical episode?
Correct.
So we're waiting on some results.
A lot of toxicology.
And some some results from the medical examiner's office, and we'll see. And again, it's tragic that somebody had to die, but that's part of our job, is to figure out exactly why.
And if you're just finding this podcast for the first time, we have some good ones. Go back, and we did one on fentanyl.
We did.
And I just keep watching the news. It just keeps getting worse
and worse
and worse and worse. And I just saw where kids, and it made me think of you, because you talked about, it's not just that certain drugs like heroin are cut with fentanyl mixed with it. It's they're pressing pills to look like something else, and it's pure fentanyl, and they're overdosing. What was the pills they thought they were taking?
M30s usually. It's some type of oxycontin.
But no, it was almost something like they thought it was going to be like euphoric, like it was like ecstasy or something.
Ecstasy or something like MDMA.
Correct. It was a pill like that, and it was straight fentanyl, and they overdosed.
Yeah,
so
I mean, what are you going to
go back and listen to that episode if you haven't, because we've had fun on this podcast, and I think we've been educational. I don't know if this is the word, informative. We've done some good stuff, and really, to me, none more than last week. And we like to talk about last week's show, and last week with athletes and mental health, and it is a serious issue, and it's coming. And so we try to do our little part. And again, let me preface this by saying, in last week's show, all the things we said, we didn't say we knew, how or why any of these athletes that unfortunately took their own lives did it, but we were just throwing out.
I think it's a responsible
bunch of different stuff. But what I'm saying is, on Twitter, I'm seeing stuff where nationally more people are aware, and that's like our podcast. We wanted to bring awareness and attention to it. And although we don't have a ton of listeners, downloads, if one or two people listened and got it to the right person, right people, then it's totally worth it.
Absolutely. And going back to what you're saying, it's the responsible thing to do. It's almost like you don't want to give anybody a roadmap of how to kill themselves.
Well, of course.
So that's why, saying how they did it is one of those things you don't want to
of course,
put that out there. Mind you, there's sources of information on that most times our suicide victims we would look up, and we would look at their web browsing history, and of course they were looking at how to do it most painless way and stuff. But it is a very important topic, and like you said, I hope that anybody who's just hurting and needs some help just listens to that, maybe gets encouraged to find help.
So my oldest just finished her. Ryan's giving me the finger, not the middle finger.
No, the.
Well, so my daughter just yelled at me, but I'll tell it. Listen,
don't do it.
Yeah, no. I don't want to listen to her yell. So anyway, she just finished her freshman year, completely done, and she did great.
She did great
in her grades, and I said I was going to say her GPA, and she lost her. She
really did.
While she was eating breakfast,
she took time out of the avocado toast
in front of Brian. She tried to call my wife at work, and I said, "Don't bother moms." I said, "I won't say your GPA," but I was extremely proud of her. So proud dad moment. Yep. First year in the books. Yep. Played soccer, Lynn University, Division II, great program. Got on the field a lot. I was
going to say, she got some good playing time.
Got on the field a lot. I was so happy with her, so I'm very proud. But she listened to our podcast driving home. It's like...
Oh, she did?
Yeah, it's like 3 hours from Boca up here to Orlando. And so we had a good conversation about it. And she brought something up that fits in with what we said where... And I'm going to generalize here, and people get pissed when you generalize or you stereotype. Well... Where are we going with generalizations and stereotypes usually come from some form of truth.
Right.
Am I wrong in saying that?
There's a kernel of truth.
So, I played football, as we know. Okay.
Wait a minute.
It just seems like I did.
Just listen to episode 1 through 4. You'll know exactly what we're talking about.
You'll know all about me. Matter of fact, I was in this after that first month. I was in a sling because I was patting myself in the back so hard during those episodes. But so most boys. Men, boys, young men.
Can you even say that anymore?
You can.
People that associate as a man.
So, most young men, we'll use football because I played football.
Sure.
Listen, I've wanted to get good grades. I've said that. Like, I tried, right?
I tried.
but at the end of the day, and apparently I said that, let me just...
At the end of the day?
Errors and omission. Apparently, I said at the end of the day a lot in the last episode. And, of course, someone hit me up and said, you said end of the day like 12 times. I'm like, all right, I apologize if I repeat a phrase. So I'll just apologize in advance. So at the end of the day,
there you go.
Back when I played football, and most of the guys I know, and there's always, what I'm about to say, there's always exceptions to the rule. Okay, there's always exceptions. Yeah, you wanted to get good grades, but if you got a C, you're like, whatever, I'm eligible, I'm playing, and I'm going to get my degree. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't get broken up over it.
No.
Girls, females, to me, they put a lot more into their grades. I mean, I'm being serious. So, and a lot of them, like, 4.0, 4.0, you know, they take real pride in that, and that's great. My daughter brought that up, that another stressor, if you will, or a factor that kind of can play into mental health is your grade point average, in that if you have a team that has a real high GPA and then you have a player that has, not great grades for whatever reason, all the things we talked about, and it could kind of, bring the GPA down on the team, that's pressure and stress where people say to them like, hey, what's going on? Let's get those grades up. Don't, you know what I mean? So it's just like, that's just another thing that I think that coaches and parents and captains and leaders on these teams need to take into consideration. I kind of get like getting after some players, like, let's do a better job. Let's make sure you go to class. But we need to understand that there might be underlying issues, right? And so, does that make sense, or does that sound totally crazy? What I just said.
You have requirements that are put upon you as a scholarship athlete, and you meet those requirements. Not everybody's going to be the scholar athlete. Not everybody's going to get A's in everything. It's okay. Hey, how about this? Yeah. Learn something, okay? If you get a C, you get a C. But as long as you're meeting those requirements, and and again, you hate to say it, but like you said, men and women are different.
We are.
Men and women are different. They say it, like high school. Middle school, high school boys are not exactly the best students most times.
I wasn't. I mean, and I tried.
But there's differences in the way people learn, and there's differences in the way people, understand things.
And there's that pride factor. Like, there's a lot of kids out there that have excelled, like 4.0, perfect. Sure. You know what I mean? You kind of went through it in the academy, right? You were. I'm being serious. And then when you get to a class that, maybe, like, again, what's college about? What do I always say? It's about learning life skills.
Right.
When you don't even know you're learning them, right? And so let's say you're one of these people that 4.0, 4.0, 4.0, and then all of a sudden, something happened in the week in practice, and you maybe didn't have the best game, and then your boyfriend or your girlfriend, something's going on, and then, your rent's due, and I got a part-time job, and then all of a sudden, I get my first C ever, right? We kind of look at it and say, oh, big deal. You got to see you still pass. But that affects people differently.
Sure.
And that's all I'm trying to say. And so my daughter also brought up a good point where she wrote a paper in I think it was a sports journalism class or sports communication class on whether athletes should be paid. And obviously,
college level?
College level.
Okay.
So we'll do a pod on this because NIL, name, image, and likeness is huge. And you got players transferring because of NIL, and they're not supposed to transfer because of that. So it's nuts right now. And she had asked me my opinion, and I've always been on the side of, look, at NIL, I have no problem with it. The issue with NIL is you're not supposed to transfer to another school because you got an NIL deal from a company that says, wink, wink, we're going to give you this NIL deal, wink, wink, if you transfer there.
Right.
And, I didn't hear from that school. So they gotta pull in the reins on that, I think. Just my opinion, okay? So, but in terms of straight pay for players, I think players should get a stipend, right? A couple $1,000 a semester. And like even she said, she goes at a Division II school, and, it's mandated in practice hours in the off season and lifting and workouts. And she said, it's a 40 hours a week. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. So, but that's for another day, another pod. Today's episode, and this has been in the news. I want to say it's been in the news lately, but it's really been in the news the last 5-10 years, national news, local news. You Google it, it comes up, but it's violence in youth sports, and then it's going to be parents behaving badly because most of the time there's parents involved, but there's also coaches involved that we'll talk about, and players. Kind of the older players when you get to high school,
adults, but the kids are kind of following the lead of the adults.
And as we were show prepping, it being dawned on both of us, this kind of fits in with mental health as well.